There's this short letter written almost 2,000 years ago from a Roman prison, and it asks a question that is honestly more relevant today than ever. It's found in the book of Colossians, and its central theme is this powerful challenge to how we think about spirituality. And this is the question right here. Is Jesus Christ, all by himself, enough for a complete spiritual life? Or do we need something more? Some extra experience, some secret knowledge, some other special practice. This was the battle raging in the ancient church at Colossae, and it's the very thing Paul decides to address head on. So to really get Paul's answer, we first need to understand the community he was writing to, a pretty young church that was facing this dangerous new idea, an idea that threatened to just pull the rug out from under the foundation of their faith. Now, Colossae wasn't some major hub like Rome or Ephesus, not at all. It was a small, kind of declining market town. And get this, the Apostle Paul, the guy who wrote this letter, had never even been there. So this wasn't a letter to some mega church. It was a really personal, urgent message to a community he cared about deeply, even from a distance. So here are the quick facts. Paul's writing around 61 AD while he's under house arrest in Rome. The church itself was probably started by his friend and coworker Epaphras. And the whole reason for the letter? Well, Epaphras traveled all the way to Rome with some really troubling news. A slick, appealing, but super dangerous philosophy was starting to creep into the church. Paul does not mince words here. He calls this new teaching a hollow and deceptive philosophy. So what in the world was it? Let's break it down. Was it just an outright denial of Jesus? Well, not quite. And that's actually what made it so sneaky. It was much, much more subtle than that. A heresy is really just a belief that goes against the established core teachings of a faith. And this one? Oh, it was a spiritual cocktail. It took some Christian language, sure, but then it blended it with elements of Jewish ritualism, like really strict dietary laws. It threw in some pagan ideas like worshiping angelic beings, and then, for good measure, topped it all off with a dose of mystical, secret knowledge philosophy. It was basically spirituality a la carte. And this quote right here from Curtis Vaughan just brilliantly illustrates the core danger. This philosophy didn't say Jesus was unimportant. It just said he wasn't enough. It suggested that to be truly spiritual, you needed Jesus, plus their secret insights, plus their rituals, plus their connection to other spiritual beings. It dethroned Christ by making him just one piece of a bigger spiritual puzzle. Yeah, they were like spiritual snake oil salesmen, promising this quick fix, a fuller, more complete version of Christianity that was only for the spiritual elite. They made the simple, powerful gospel seem, well, basic, like it was just level 1 and you needed to graduate from it to get to the deeper stuff they were selling. Okay, so how does Paul respond? Does he get into some big philosophical debate? Argue with them point by point? No. He goes right back to the absolute foundation, the ultimate, unrivaled supremacy of Jesus Christ. Paul's strategy is just to elevate Christ so high that all these other add-ons are exposed for what they really are, just small man-made ideas next to the infinite reality of who Jesus is. Because if Christ is supreme over everything, then by definition, nothing can be added to him. And he establishes this supremacy in 2 huge cosmic domains. First, over all of creation. He's not just part of it, he is the source, the sustainer, and the whole point of the entire universe. And second, he is supreme over the church, which is like the new creation. So in both the physical universe and the spiritual family of God, Christ holds the first and highest place, period. Now, this truth about Christ's supremacy isn't just a theology lesson. It builds to Paul's ultimate answer. Because he is supreme, something incredible is true for every single believer. This right here is the knockout punch. In him, you have already been made complete. It's not some future goal you have to achieve through secret knowledge or special rituals. It's a present reality, right now, because you are connected to the all-sufficient Christ. So this is the crucial point. His supremacy leads to your sufficiency. Because Jesus is everything, you lack nothing. The formula isn't Christ plus something else. The formula is simply Christ. That's it. That is the key to this whole letter. I mean, just look at this contrast. The false teachers offered a secret fullness, but Paul says all the treasures of wisdom are already in Christ. They pushed all these rituals, but Paul says you're freed from man-made regulations. They promoted angel worship, and Paul declares Christ is supreme over all authorities. They were all about harsh physical discipline, and Paul's answer is just so simple. You are already complete.
So, a 2,000-year-old letter to a small town in what is now Turkey. Why are we talking about it today? Because the Colossian heresy never really went away. It just changes its costume.
This quote from commentator Warren Wiersbe just nails it, doesn't it? The pressure to add something to the simple gospel is constant. Whether it's a political ideology or a new self-help trend or a specific spiritual experience, the temptation is always there to believe that Jesus, by himself, isn't quite enough for our modern problems.
And that's why this letter is so vital. It's a timeless anchor. It pulls us back to the center and reminds us that in Christ, we have received the fullness of God. We aren't missing anything. We are complete.
You know, the snake oil salesman of today may not be talking about angel worship or dietary laws, but the message is so often the same. So it's worth asking ourselves, what are the modern additions that subtly whisper to us that Christ isn't quite enough? What challenges our confidence that we are truly and fully complete in him?